So Erica Wheeler came out and said it all that if the Fever didn't have Caitlin Clark, they would not be in the playoffs. Said it here. No, but we here stay tuned in. Now, Sarah Swoops did make an argument earlier this season that the Fever would have still made the playoffs without Caitlin Clark, which I think is crazy to me that you would make an argument about a team who doesn't have a reliable point guard still getting the playoffs. Because if Caitlin Clark was not on this roster, who's playmaking out there? Kelsey Mitchell? No, she likes to isolate and play hero ball. Aaliyah Boston? Maybe she gets some assists, but you can't tell me that they would still be running in transition, playing with the same type of pace and intensity without Caitlin Clark. There's just no way because Grace Berger, maybe she would be solid, but they would be scoring in the low 80s and 70s and be in slugfest games with other teams. So let's just go back to the WNBA draft and let's just say Caitlin Clark is not drafted by the Fever and she's not in it at all. And the Fever decided to draft Cardoso. So now you have Aaliyah Boston, Cardoso, Dantas, Fag Bentley, and Alyssa Smith. The problem with that is you have an influx of bigs out there, and you don't have a point guard who can set them up for really good pick and roll actions and set them up for really good post plays. And you have Grace Berger running that offense because if you have Kelsey Mitchell with the ball, well, she's going to isolate and shoot and not really move the ball around. And now they're just sitting here watching Kelsey Mitchell put on a show or shooting bricks. So Cardoso can get in the post, but again, they're not going to be scoring a lot of points. They're not going to be able to run in transition and get easy layups for themselves. Let's just say the Fever draft Rakia Jackson. Again, she's been a phenomenal rookie for the Sparks. She's just on a bad basketball team. And that's not a bad draft pick, in my opinion, because now you pair her up with Lexi Hall and you've got some really good wing defenders, and Rakia Jackson can score the basketball. But the problem here is you don't have a reliable playmaker. So a lot of their offense is going to be isolation, and Chrissy Sides is going to slow the game down. And what was the result of that last year? The Fever won 13 games. So even if they drafted a Cardoso or a Rakia Jackson or even an Angel Reese, they might be better at those positions. But when it comes to a playmaker who can set them up for success and get them in position to score consistently, that would no longer be on the table because you don't have Caitlin Clark who can run your offense and set your team up for plays where they can score the basketball and also run in transition for easy layups. That's no longer there. Now, another argument is I don't know if the Fever are in the playoffs without Kelsey Mitchell. I think the Fever would be the 8th seed because, again, I think Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston would have a lot of success together. But at the same time, not having Kelsey Mitchell's offense would hurt them. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that. I do agree to an extent that they would be fighting for a playoff spot. I still think they would get in, but they would struggle because they wouldn't have enough offense out there. And Erica Wheeler, I think she's a great vet. I think it would help her game if she had a solid backup point guard to play alongside her, because if she's the main person running this offense, it's just not a good idea because she's looking to score first, and that's just her role. She's not looking to be a playmaker. And she's, I believe, 33 years old. So at her stage of basketball, she has her habits. She has her role set in place. And again, last year, she started a lot of games. She's actually been a starter for the majority of her career. So to come into this year playing off the bench has been a major change for Erica Wheeler. Now, I don't know if she'll be better next year with a point guard. That's why I want to at least give her a chance. But if she's still not producing with a backup point guard next to her, then you got to move on. But I think as a teammate, she's been really good. She hasn't caused any drama for the Fever. And I know she isn't always really great on offense, but you got to play somebody to give Caitlin Clark a rest. Another person brought up the fact that if the Fever didn't have Kelsey Mitchell, they wouldn't be in the playoffs. That's not a bad argument to make because Kelsey Mitchell has been really good on offense after the All-Star break. And I think even if Caitlin and you had Aaliyah Boston out there, they would be battling for the 8th seed. They may make the playoffs, but they could definitely miss it. I don't think they're wrong here by saying Kelsey Mitchell not on the team, Fever don't make the playoffs. But at the same time, I still feel like the Fever would find a way because of Caitlin Clark's ability to play make and also just make an impact with her shooting. And Aaliyah Boston, she's going to be phenomenal as well. So I don't know. It's a toss-up for me, but I'm not against you saying that the Fever wouldn't be in the playoffs without Kelsey Mitchell. There's no argument there for me. And just see what people have to say about this debate with Kelsey Mitchell. Again, no Kelsey, no playoffs. No Caitlin Clark, no playoffs. No Aaliyah Boston, no playoffs. And again, you could say the same thing about other players. Like if you didn't have Asia Wilson on the Aces, they're not making the playoffs, are they? I don't know. They don't have Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray. Or let's say they don't have Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum. Are the Aces still in the playoffs? No. What about the Minnesota Lynx without Collier on that team? How good are the Lynx? What about Breanna Stewart on the New York Liberty? We can go on and on. So we can have these discussions all day long, but you need your players. Like if LeBron wasn't on the Lakers, are they a playoff team? Nikola Jokic, are the Nuggets even good? Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, SGA. I can go on and on. So we can have these conversations all day long, but at the same time, you need your number one option and your best player on the basketball court at all times. It's just really that simple to me. And I get that fans are saying this is a team effort. No arguments for me there. It does take a team to make the playoffs. But without Caitlin Clark's ability to play in transition and run the fast break, the offense isn't scoring as much. They're in the low 70s and 80s. The game is sloppy. When Chrissy Side slows the game down, the Fever is terrible in the half court. But when Caitlin Clark is able to run in transition, push the ball, play in with more pace, you can't stop the Fever. So if you subtract Caitlin Clark out of this lineup, what does the offense look like? It's just a mess out there because they're not moving the ball effectively and you don't have a really good playmaker. That's really important in basketball for someone to run your offense to set you up for success, because if you're the Phoenix Suns, you saw what happened there. It's a complete dumpster fire because you need a point guard to organize these sets, to set people up to score more easily. It's important. Now, I'm not saying these other things aren't important for the Fever, that they don't need Alexi Hall or Leah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell, but the best player on the Fever is Caitlin Clark. And without her ability to play make, they're not as good on offense. So yeah, it's cool to see Erica Wheeler giving credit to Caitlin Clark and saying that we're not in the playoffs without her, because those are just facts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Caitlin Clark's impact. Do you think the Fever still make the playoffs without Clark? You're probably going to say no, which I can't blame you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.